Hello and welcome to Balanced Existence. Today is part 3 and the final part of our 7 chakra read. So this has become a 3-part video when I initially thought I was going to get all 7 chakras in one video. But of course I should know that when we channel here, we do so with a fully open heart, open mind. And so sometimes a lot comes through, and I love that we can have this time to just dive in fully and not rush it. So today is part 3. If you haven't already, I highly recommend checking out part 1 and 2 first. So part 1, we covered the root, sacral, and solar plexus chakras. And in part 2, we covered the heart and throat chakra. And so today we are going to cover the third eye chakra and then finish with the crown chakra. So I'm very excited. I know that these are the top 2 chakras. So these are going to be much more energetic and perhaps abstract concepts than the more rooted or even middle of our body chakras that we talked about before. So let's jump right in with the third eye chakra. So this is all about your intuition, your inner wisdom, your inner knowingness, and the clarity to see things beyond what's on the surface. And just having a really strong inner vision and being able to trust your intuition and tap into that inner guidance from your higher self at any given moment. So as we evolve on this spiritual journey, we are all tapping into the third eye chakra. And I'm feeling pulled to say that for the collective that feels like you're not as far along on your journey as you are, because often we are our own worst critic and we often don't give ourselves the credit, or we just fail to see how far we've come and how developed and even psychic we are at times. And so I'm being called to tell the collective that your third eye is beaming and bright and so skilled and masterful. And so do not doubt for a second that you are such a powerful being and a powerful light through the wisdom of your third eye chakra. I don't want you to see this chakra as something that is really far out of your reach. And of course, we always want to balance our intuition with discernment and like a knowingness of when it's our intuition and when it's fear or our ego. And as we are human, it is a normal part of our experience to make mistakes. And, just because our third eye chakra is growing and really healthy and gaining in its power and skills doesn't mean that we won't at times be humbled and learn lessons through this chakra. But ultimately, I want to tell this collective that your third eye is so powerful. And most of the time for this collective, and take this as it resonates, you'll know if this is meant for you, but most of this collective more so struggles to trust what they already know, rather than do they struggle with feeling like they know things when really it's just egoic. So take this as it resonates. In any and every situation, your intuition and your internal guidance system is for you to discern and for you to experience and become an even greater master of it in every moment that passes. But I really am just feeling so strongly that this collective is not giving themselves enough credit for how much they've become a master of your intuition. So with that being said, I'm going to pull some cards. We have the 2 of Wands and the Chariot. Okay, very interesting and aligned with what I was just channeling into. So the 2 of Wands is all about your vision, right? Like you're looking over the horizon at what's ahead. You're planning and making decisions and exploring what your options are. And it's such a powerful energy, even though it is early on in the process, it's still very powerful because it's a moment of potential for understanding and nearly being ready to decide on what path you want to pursue out of all of the vast possibilities that are available to you. And so you are priming yourself to take a bold action, to move towards expansion. With the wands being fire, this is themes of power, themes of creative passions, themes of embracing adventure, setting ambitious goals, and ultimately understanding and appreciating the power of your choice. And with the 2 being the number of duality, this is about you balancing your dreams with practical steps moving forward. So how does this relate to the third eye chakra? I'm getting that as you look ahead at how you want your life to go, you are doing so in such alignment with your intuition and with your inner guidance system. Your inner guidance system is the foundation. It's like the Ace of Wands that precedes this card, right? It's the foundation that now you have to take steps and make choices and move forward. So although you may feel like you're at a crossroads, and again, I'm picking up on that previous energy I was tapping into, which is the feeling that, oh, I don't know if my intuition is really that strong, or, these constant doubts that we have, this collective, with our third eye energy, with our intuition, with our inner knowing. And so this card is explaining to us that while we may feel like we're at a crossroads, or maybe we even feel like we're stagnant or stopped in our growth, you are actually at a beautiful marinating phase where you have the power to envision and decide. And the world is open for you. There's infinite expansion and opportunity available to you. You can research new ideas. You can determine how you're going to network. You can determine if you want to travel. It's like so much action and adventure is ahead of you. And you have the full power to make those choices because you have the foundation of your third eye, of your internal guidance system. And so whatever facet of life you may be feeling called to change or pursue new ideas or opportunities, and again, I highly recommend checking out the 7 Facets of Life workshop, because your third eye is your guidance system, but how you choose to manifest those ideas and the imagination that your third eye represents, that can be channeled into any given facet of your life. It can be your career, it can be your relationships, it can be your home environment. So maybe if you're not sure, maybe you have multiple facets of life that you want to pursue, I definitely recommend getting clear on what are your goals, like what facets of life are the top priority, are your top passion right now. So definitely check out that reading if that resonates. But however this is showing up in your life, love, career, whatever it is, you are in such a buzzing, I'm hearing like a cocoon phase where you are planning and growing and, again, researching. And I spoke before about, almost being ready to make decisions, and these decisions may involve you or require you to step out of your comfort zone. And so a really helpful way to do this is with the security that your third eye energy center, your intuition, your inner knowing, your inner guidance provides you. Because just because something makes us feel uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's fear-based or an old, outdated, egoic story that limits us. So my cat is here to meow of confirmation, as he does. But I'm hearing that as you are making choices, you're going to be faced with potential opportunities that are going to seem a little uncomfortable, and to not mistake that discomfort with it being your intuition telling you not to do it. Because truly your intuition would know that you're destined for success and that the decision that feels good on a soul, spiritual, inner knowing level that's aligned with your heart, aligned with your soul emotions, not emotions that are like fear, that decision is the aligned decision. And sometimes it will be uncomfortable, and that doesn't mean that your intuition is saying not to do it. And so you probably have some example in life where you were just called to take a risk or called to try something new, and maybe a part of you felt like it was scary or daunting, but the majority part of you, the pure soul energy, knew that you had to do this and knew that everything was going to be okay. That's kind of the sweet spot that your balanced third eye will bring you to. And now we're also getting the Chariot, which is so aligned with this message coming through, because this is all about the determination and the willpower you have to focus and put in the effort to overcome obstacles and continue forward movement and achieve the victory that we seek, achieve the goals that we set for ourselves. And it's a card of such success, and it's because of your ambition, because of you taking charge, taking an empowered, sovereign approach to your life, to recognizing your accountability, recognizing your role as a co-creator of your life, having the discipline as you need. It's those things that contribute to your success. And so it's not to say that there won't be conflict. It's to say that you have the focus to harness this conflict or harness conflicting energies and continue moving forward in a single direction towards your path. And this Chariot card is following the Two of Wands because it's representing the shift from the planning phase to the action taking phase. And so I'm getting called to speak on the year of 2026 and it being the year of the horse. And of course, whenever you're listening to this, the message is timeless. So even if you're listening to this after 2026, ultimately, Spirit is sending you this timeless message because you are about to enter a season of movement, of motion, even if you're not in the 2026 year of the horse. But in this present time, we are moving into these energies as a collective, and there's big energy. And I'm also hearing this piece of guidance that is like the saying, if it's 99% yes, it's a no, which is similar to the saying, if it's not a full body yes, it's a no. But the 99% is really shocking to most who hear that for the first time, because most of us would think a 99% yes would be a yes. But Spirit is saying, in this buzzing, high power energy of the year of the horse, of the momentum of 2026, we cannot afford to move forward with things that are not 100% full body yeses. And so 99 seems very high, but that's just how fine-tuned we are getting with our energy. And it speaks to just how aligned we are getting with our energies and aligning our soul and heart-led desires and dreams with the actions that we take. And with the Chariot, I also want to speak on the dance that we have with the universe and the universal forces that contribute to us achieving our goals, because ultimately we are the co-creators of our lives along with the universe. So it's us and the universe. It's not fully us. We're not 100% in control of everything, but when we surrender and we keep ourselves open to where our inner guidance is pulling or pushing us to go, then again, we're able to harness conflicting energies, surrender as needed and take action as needed. And that's how we enter that beautiful, harmonious dance with universal forces, with divine source energy, which keeps that co-creative duo, between us and the universe in harmony and in that compatible and successful dance. So I want to give some practical guidance to help nourish and practice the skills of the third eye chakra. So a great way to do this is to meditate, of course, closing your eyes and focusing your attention, like focusing your eyesight, even though your eyes are closed, on the space between your eyebrows, and see this as your inner screen. And so you can get creative with this. It can just be a black screen. It can be a blank slate. It can be a white screen, right? But ultimately, you want to keep it open. You want to observe any thoughts or judgments or beliefs that come through, and you just want to be present with it. And ultimately, as you silence the mental chatter, and we've talked about meditation back when we were talking about the heart chakra and just how crucial it is for you to be meditating every single day. As you become well-versed in your meditation skills, and of course every day will be different. Some days you'll have a great meditation session, and some days you'll feel really foggy and disconnected, and that's a normal part of the human experience. But committing to practicing and showing up every day, that's what gets you very proficient in seeing the guidance that needs to come to you on this inner screen. And I also want to take a moment to point out that everyone is going to receive their inner guidance in different ways. So the inner screen may resonate with you, but if you're not as visual as that, which again, our eyes are closed, but the screen is meant to be something that you visualize or something that you see, that may not resonate for you, and you may instead hear guidance come in. You may feel it in your body, in your gut, or it may just drop in through your crown, like into your mind, into like a knowing on like a mental level, which again, not to be confused with egoic or overthinking thought spirals. But this is just to say that the way that you receive inner guidance may be different from how others receive it. So really embrace the journey of getting to know yourself and getting to know how it is that you best receive your inner guidance, how it is that your intuition speaks to you the best. And being in touch with your body is, of course, necessary and valuable, but you may receive inner guidance in other ways that aren't such obvious bodily cues. For example, maybe some of us get headaches or a feeling in our gut or even chills when it's a positive feedback from our bodies. And I think every human experiences these kind of bodily cues to some extent, but it may be stronger for others, and that may not be your main way of receiving inner guidance. So just remain open, and maybe you already immediately know how it is that you receive your internal guidance and your internal knowing in the strongest way. But I just want to point that out because everyone has a different channel and different auras and different ways that they can receive this insight. And so just allow space for you to nurture and accommodate what's best for you. And another meditation tactic would be to visualize an indigo light glowing around that third eye space. And I'm also getting to drink water, although I'm pretty sure I've said that for every chakra, but you can't go wrong with drinking water. It's going to support your mental clarity. And I'm also hearing to eat in a mindful way. Having that mindful presence, and I'm picking up on this specifically for eating, but this goes for anything you're doing throughout the day. I'm also hearing, like, for those who work desk or corporate jobs where you're at a computer all day, to, as often as you can, bring your awareness to the present moment, even if it's just for a couple seconds. Try to get into the habit of mindfulness and regular check-ins with yourself throughout the day, because that will help strengthen the power of your third eye. And also, it will remind yourself and show yourself that you are prioritizing your third eye, even when you're having a really busy day at work or when you're totally wrapped up in something and focused in something, to confirm to yourself that the third eye is always open. Like, you are always open to the guidance that your third eye has to bring you in any given moment. Having more moments of mindfulness throughout the day is going to help with that relationship to your third eye energy center. And then, of course, as I was saying, to eat mindfully when you eat, not to eat really fast, not to eat while watching TV or scrolling on your phone whenever possible, but to eat and really be present with what you're doing. Eating is a great way to practice mindfulness and to not multitask. So I also want to speak on a journal prompt of maybe journaling on experiences where you have connected with your inner knowing, whether it was a gut feeling, something that you saw, like visually. Again, even if that means your eyes were closed and in meditation, maybe you saw it on your inner screen, or maybe you heard something, and not to neglect or ignore the whispers of your intuition because you think that you just made them up or that they're insignificant, but to really open your space to recognizing and acknowledging them. And a great way to practice and sharpen this skill is by journaling, because then you prime your mind and body to finding evidence of when you are able to recognize and acknowledge those intuitive insights and guidance that comes through. So journaling is great because the more that your mind gets used to becoming aware of the fact that you are receiving intuitive guidance from within, the better you'll get at continuing to stay open to receiving that guidance. So the specific journal prompt could be, when was a time that I followed my intuition and it worked out? What happened? What helps or helped me connect with my intuition or inner knowing? Any kind of journaling of experiences and examples of that will be extremely beneficial to strengthening the relationship between yourself and your intuitive wisdom. I'm also hearing to just seek to make decisions based on your inner feelings, your inner gut. When appropriate, the more that you can get used to making decisions based off your intuition rather than logic, again, as appropriate in life, the more practice you'll have at following your intuition. And again, the more you'll strengthen that relationship between your mind and body, strengthen the relationship between your rational self and your intuitive self. This is all part of the union of self that we talk about so much on that channel, is opening yourself to guidance from your higher self, right? So your physical self and your spiritual higher self, the more that they can be in union, the more supported you'll feel, the more aligned you'll feel. And you'll just have such an abundance of focus and clarity of the mind and of the body. So I'm going to end with some affirmations, and then we'll get into the crown chakra. So we have, I trust my inner wisdom. I see clearly and I choose wisely. My intuition leads me with clarity and grace. So these are just examples, and let's move on to the crown chakra. Okay, so the crown chakra is all about your higher consciousness, your connection to your spirituality, or your connection to a higher power that gives you faith in your spiritual journey and even gives you a sense of purpose that is fueled and guided and protected through your spiritual connection with higher powers. It's also about your sense of unity and being one with the universe, being connected to others on an energetic and spiritual level. So it's your universal connection and consciousness. And while this may seem like it's not useful or practical living in the physical realm, the reason that the crown chakra is so valuable is because it reminds us of the importance of energy and the importance of connection. Because ultimately, if we all come from the same divine source energy, which then manifests down to the individual bodies that we inhabit as the vehicles that we navigate through this lifetime in, having the knowingness and understanding that we come from the same energy can really help us connect and grow and evolve on a deeper, more enlightened level. And another reason this crown chakra is so valuable is that it is the wisdom from divine source energy that travels through our bodies, through our 7 chakras, and can be anchored into our physical bodies. So the crown chakra is like the portal connecting from the highest divine energy of the spiritual realm to our bodies and the 7 chakras that make up our bodies, which of course are of the physical realm. So when we open our crown chakra to receive insights and wisdom from these higher powers, whether you label it as God or universe or divine source energy, you can see how it helps guide us in this physical world of duality where we do have an ego, we do have concepts of me versus others. But ultimately, this higher energy that we are all united by is the energy of love and of abundance. And because we all come from that energy, we can see very clearly and understand very deeply that we have that creator power. As I always say, our lives are a co-creation with the universe. So anchoring this wisdom that can be received through the crown chakra is what allows us to be the conscious creators of our life in this co-creative relationship we have with the universe. And of course, we just spoke on the third eye chakra, but this is the next chakra underneath the crown, which is again where we receive our intuitive nudges and whispers and our inner guidance, our inner knowing. That is connecting from the higher power that our crown chakra opens us to. So you can see how they're connected and how they're both crucial for the first step of manifesting an idea or something you can envision or imagine from that higher abstract concept, which comes from the energy of divine source energy, God, universe. It's that creator energy, manifesting that into your reality by bringing it down through the chakras. It's like you have an idea, then you receive this guidance, you channel it through your voice, through your heart, you anchor it with the willpower of your solar plexus chakra and through your relationships of the sacral, all the way down to the root, which is the physical reality of that idea. So the journey through the 7 chakras from the crown to the root is quite literally the manifestation process. So you can see now that although many of us in this day and age and in this collective have a lot of healing to do in our lower 3 chakras and our basic survival needs based on the traumas we've endured and things like this. And once we heal those, we're able to kind of open up our hearts a little more and speak our truths. You can kind of see how the next step is really surrendering and diving deep into the surrendered knowing that we are part of this infinite consciousness that is the everlasting energetic reservoir from which we can pull our visualizations and anchor them down into our physical reality. And that's what manifestation is all about. And that is the beauty of that process. And it's not just about manifesting a new car or manifesting an outcome. It's about becoming an empowered, sovereign being that is tapping into the energy that unites us all and creates us all in order to be the conscious creator of your own life. So it's a beautiful flow of energy that we are a part of, and one of duality in the physical realm that ultimately leads up to a universal single source of energy that we all come from, which is a dualistic concept in itself, that we go from one to duality. So, of course, these are very quantum concepts, but I want to pull the tarot cards that can speak on where we are at as a collective with our crown chakra and how the crown chakra is impacting the way that we manifest and are taking that conscious creatorship of our lives. So we have the Two of Swords and the Two of Cups. Very interesting. Okay, immediately I'm picking up on this journey where, and wow, I'm just loving the duality here because we have two cards, the Two of Swords and the Two of Cups. And we also have the duality of the Two of Swords, which is a very challenging energy of feeling stuck or in denial. Perhaps in your relationships, this can show up as needing space or being at some kind of stalemate or being out of balance in terms of the communication. It can also show up as some kind of avoidance, like I said, being in denial, not being able to see something clearly, of course, because she's wearing a blindfold. And for this card to then be translated into the Two of Cups, which is of union and friendship and connection, and I'm getting so many chills on this. It's like you have, and my cat is confirming, you have opened your crown chakra and your creative power, creator power, because you've transformed your energy through the opening of your crown chakra, which in a practical and specific way, you've done this by surrendering to life, by releasing control. And to do that, you had to really trust that whatever happened, you were going to be okay. Because that's what surrender really is. It means that you may not get what you want, or I should say what your ego wants, but you are going to get what you need and what your soul needs and what your soul wants. So you may not get your egoic desires, but you will get your soul's desires. That knowing allows you to surrender, and that allows you to open to the wisdom and power and abundance that your crown chakra is always ready to bring you when you are open and aligned to it. So I'm just feeling such an abundant, joyful energy with the Two of Cups that's coming through for you, and I'm loving that transformation for you. And this reading is all about your internal energies, but it's quite apparent that because you've shifted from the Two of Swords to the Two of Cups on an internal level, of course that's going to show up in your external reality as it relates to your friendships or even a romantic connection. But as I always say, this is not meant to be a reading to soothe your ego or tell you that you're going to receive some external relationship that you've been desiring. But it's like, because we're dealing with the crown chakra now, you already know this. You already know that when you receive the Two of Cups, it's not your ego jumping to feeling relieved that you're finally going to be validated. It's you receiving the Two of Cups, knowing that this is your union of self. This is your surrender to the universe, while also, we're getting the Knight of Wands coming out. So it's knowing when to surrender, knowing when to take action. And through that process and through that self-mastery of your ability to discern, you are reaching this place of balance, this union, this alignment that the Two of Cups represents. And it's this knowing that everything is exactly how it's meant to be and that you're on the highest path, that you're divinely protected, and that you're always moving towards your highest timeline when you're in this type of alignment. And with the Knight of Wands, this could be you. And I'm also loving the balance and duality of the water and the fire, the water of the Two of Cups and the fire of the Knight of Wands, because again, it's that inner divine feminine being represented by water and the inner divine masculine being represented by fire. It's their harmonious union. But I feel like I keep getting sidetracked with all of these messages of duality. But what I was going to say is that with the Knight of Wands, I'm getting that there may be some area of life, and of course with the Two of Cups here, it's making me think about relationships, but of course, take it as it resonates. It could be friends or family. It could also be career or something else in your life that you've been seeking to manifest. It could be moving homes or cities. But again, I would check out the 7 Facets workshop if you haven't already to really get aligned with where in your life you're seeking the most growth and transformation and prioritization. But regardless, the Knight of Wands is showing you that you are getting ready to take action, or maybe you are already taking action, and you're doing so in a way that is so divinely protected by the universe, by the higher powers that support and fuel our creations and our manifestations. And so I've already pulled a few cards, but I want to pull a few more because I feel like we're on such an energetic roll right now. So we're getting the High Priestess, wow, the Tower, the 10 of Swords, and the 9 of Swords. So again, this beautiful duality. I know this might seem like pretty harsh cards with the Tower, the 10 of Swords, and the 9 of Swords, because it's all about endings and collapse and anxieties and just the sense of death and rebirth. But with the High Priestess here, it's balanced with this calm embodiment. I just love that it's this calm, peaceful High Priestess opposite the Tower and 10 of Swords and 9 of Swords, which are, of course, very stressful, intense, chaotic energies. But with the High Priestess, this is all about your inner knowing. So again, because your crown chakra is open and protected and glowing, you have this calm, peaceful inner knowing that everything is working out. And the High Priestess does represent mystery and things that are hidden in the subconscious, but it is the calm, peaceful, graceful, divine feminine energy. And so what it's representing here is that amidst Tower moments and 10 of Swords moments and 9 of Swords moments, even through these experiences on your journey where there are things that have to be torn down or things that have to be left behind as you elevate to higher timelines, and the anxieties that don't serve you, and the periods of feeling worry or the periods of feeling doubt, which are, of course, a normal part of the human experience. But even through all of these experiences that are, of course, perceived by the ego to be negative, the High Priestess is here to gracefully move forward in alignment with her intuition and inner wisdom. And it's the deep spiritual knowledge that gets us in touch with our subconscious. And so I'm loving all of these themes of duality, the union of your subconscious and your conscious, the union of surrender and action, the union of the divine feminine and divine masculine. And it's just been reiterated over and over, the importance of your intuition and recognizing and knowing and trusting your inner guidance system, because that's what gets you in creative control of your life in a healthy and empowered way. And that's when your 6th and 7th chakras, the third eye and the crown chakra, are balanced and clear and glowing. And so if it's not already abundantly clear to you, your intuition is paving your way forward. If this is the one message you take away from today, it's like if you've done the core values exercise, intuition is likely one of your top core values if you're listening to this and it's resonating and you are in this collective. and devoted deeply to cleansing, healing, strengthening, nurturing, and fulfilling your crown chakra. So, of course, I would love to hear from you in the comments. I'm just feeling so much buzzing energy around this crown chakra. And what I'm really tapping into is the collective's ability. Well, it's not even an ability. It's just a natural way that you're already showing up. It's the default way that you exist now because your crown chakra is so beautiful and open and healthy. It's like ability is just the potential for you to be on your higher timeline. But what I'm tapping into is that you're already on the timeline. You're on the highest timeline of abundance. And your crown chakra is a magical and powerful and proficient portal. Like, you do have this glowing crown chakra. It is healthy. It is strong. It is functioning incredibly powerfully. And simply just remembering that can bring you back to that power. So I'm also just getting more reminders of positive self-talk, trusting your guidance system, continuing to surrender and flow and dance with life. Like, this is what keeps your crown chakra ready and open for receiving in the abundance that Source always has ready for you. And it's fully in your control to be open to it or not. But this collective is open. So, beautiful reading here. I want to channel in some practical guidance for the crown chakra. So, of course, meditating and envisioning light coming through your crown chakra. Whether that light is just pure love, abundance, the wisdom and channeling that you seek, but it is divine source energy coming through, and it's available for you at any time, and you are deserving of it. So any kind of meditation that's connecting you with the higher powers that resonate with you is going to keep your crown chakra healthy and open. And of course, bringing that information down and anchoring it through the remaining chakras. And of course, you can also envision a violet light glowing above your head to help open to that light flowing down and filling your body with peace and openness. That can be really beneficial for your crown chakra. And it's all about allowing your awareness to expand beyond the physical. So remaining open to the fact that there is more than meets the eye, right? Like, this is quantum energetics that we're talking about. And when you open to that fact, you surrender to a higher power and you get in this open channel to receive that abundance from the higher energy source. I'm also hearing like to be discerning with what you eat. So of course, we live in a world where there's a lot of unhealthy options, and of course we're human, and moderation is an individual journey. But ultimately, if you're eating really heavier processed foods, that's going to prevent your crown chakra from functioning to its highest abilities. I'm also hearing time spent in nature or in the sunlight to continue to uplift your spirit and channel in that light. And so any journal prompt that revolves around you reflecting on what spiritual connection feels like for you, how your faith is important to you, where in your life you are surrendering, and what experiences bring you stillness and peace, those are some great prompts to reflect on for your crown chakra. And this is related to meditation, but if you're going to do breath work, to focus on the area on top of your head, to really directing your flowing life source energy towards the crown chakra energy center. So I'm going to end with some affirmations for the crown chakra. So we have, I am connected to divine source energy. I trust in the wisdom of the universe. I open myself to spiritual guidance and insights. My consciousness expands beyond my body. So this is the finish of our 7 chakra read. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to hear from you in the comments. And of course, every like and subscribe means so much to me. I'm just so overjoyed to be building this community. And if you've made it this far, I just thank you so much for showing up, for being a part of this collective and taking the time over and over to commit to your spiritual awakening and evolution. So thank you so much for being here and for listening. And let me know if you'd like me to continue this series. I think I will do it once a month is my plan. So I would love to hear from you what resonated, what helped you, and any requests you might have. So thank you again for listening, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.